All right, ready for a bit of an emotional deep dive today?
Sounds intriguing.
We're going to be looking at 50 sad journal prompts.
Okay.
And this is from a blog post by Lestallion. You know, they're the folks that make those journals.
Yeah.
I bet you're thinking sad prompts.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's not about just wallowing in sadness.
Gotcha.
It's about using writing as a way to really understand those blue moments we all have.
I like that.
What I find fascinating is how these prompts encourage us to go beyond just, saying, I feel sad.
Mm-hmm.
They're pushing us to explore the nuances, all the hidden wisdom in those feelings.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like they're giving us a toolkit to, well, almost dissect sadness and then maybe even build something new.
Exactly.
From all the pieces.
It's structured so well, too. The prompts are grouped into 5 categories.
Oh, interesting. What are they?
It's like a map of the sadscape. Understanding your feelings, relationships. Then there's loss and change.
Okay.
And self-compassion. And then hope and moving forward. I just love that structure. It feels more like a journey than just a list of things to make you cry.
Right, right. And that journey starts with self-awareness, right? The understanding your feelings prompts, they really emphasize getting intimate with your sadness.
Yes.
There's one, I think it asks, how does sadness feel to me? Like a weight, like a fog, something else.
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
It's not just labeling the emotion. It's about actually feeling it in your body, finding that metaphor that captures its essence for you.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, get curious about this sadness.
Yeah.
It's not just a bad feeling. It's like a messenger.
Mm-hmm.
It has a story to tell.
Right.
And there's another prompt, ask you how you care for those feelings. And I think that's so important.
It is, yeah.
Because it's easy to just beat yourself up when you feel sad. But what if you treated yourself like a friend who's going through a rough time?
It's such a powerful shift in perspective. And that ties into the whole self-compassion piece, which we'll get into a little bit later. But even at this early stage, there's that gentle nudge towards self-kindness. I think that's crucial.
It really is. Okay, let's move on to relationships because, let's face it, those can bring up a lot of sadness.
For sure.
There's a prompt in here about writing to someone you miss deeply, things you wish you could tell them. Gosh, I'm already getting teary-eyed just thinking about it.
Yeah, that one hit me hard too. It really highlights how journaling is such a safe space to express emotions, especially the emotions that might be difficult or even impossible to, convey in real life.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes just that act of expression, even if it's just on paper, can be so cathartic.
Like you're giving yourself permission to just feel those feelings fully, without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in that process, you discover something new about yourself or about that relationship.
Exactly. And some of these prompts in this category, they encourage you to dig even deeper into those relationship dynamics.
So interesting.
Like there's one about forgiveness, not necessarily for the other person, but for yourself. Because let's be honest, holding on to that anger, that resentment, it just hurts us more than anyone else.
That's so true. All right, now for the heavy stuff. Loss and change. This is a category that everyone can relate to.
Definitely.
The prompt that really stood out to me asked about something you've lost recently. A person, a place, even a part of yourself. It's a reminder that loss comes in many forms. It touches every part of our lives.
What I think is brilliant about that prompt is it doesn't shy away from the pain of loss,
Yeah.
It invites you to lean into those feelings, to explore that emptiness that's left behind, maybe even discover a new appreciation for what you had.
It's acknowledging the full spectrum of emotions that come with loss. Not just the sadness, the anger, the confusion, maybe even a sense of gratitude for having that connection at all.
Right.
And you know what's interesting? Even though loss is often seen as such a negative experience, it can be a catalyst for really profound growth.
Absolutely. Think about the caterpillar becoming a butterfly, It's death and rebirth. It's through that process that something beautiful emerges.
Wow, that's a powerful analogy.
Ah,
It makes me think about how journaling can help us work through those transitions in life and find meaning in all the chaos.
yeah. Reframing loss not as an ending, but as a transformation. And sometimes those transformations, they lead us to unexpected and beautiful destinations.
So we've explored the depths of sadness, the complexities of relationships, the transformative power of loss. But where do we go from here? How do we find the strength to move forward? That's what we'll be exploring in part 2 of our deep dive into these 50 sad journal prompts.
It's really striking me as we keep looking at these prompts that they're not just about processing sadness, it's about understanding ourselves better,
Yeah, it's like holding up this mirror.
to our inner world.
Exactly, revealing those hidden corners that we try to avoid.
And sometimes the things we find there, they can be surprising, even unsettling.
Oh, absolutely.
But through that process of exploration, that's how we heal and grow, right?
Yeah. One that really resonated with me asks, if my sadness could speak, what would it say? It's so powerful, to think about giving it a voice.
I love that. Like you're engaging in a dialogue.
With your sadness.
Yeah, instead of just trying to make it go away.
Push it down. Exactly.
Mm.
And through that dialogue, maybe you discover something. A message, a lesson.
It might even have a gift for you.
A gift from sadness.
I know. Or...
Sounds counterintuitive, but I think there's truth to that. Sometimes our greatest challenges can lead to these big breakthroughs.
Absolutely. And these prompts, they encourage us to look at sadness differently, not as an enemy, but maybe as an ally, a guide on this self-discovery journey.
Okay, let's talk about the self-compassion category, because I think this is where things get really interesting.
I think so too.
These prompts remind us that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. You deserve kindness and understanding, especially from yourself.
There's this one, asks, what would I say to a friend who is feeling how I feel right now? Such a good way to look at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
It forces you to step outside of that self-criticism and tap into the empathy that we often have more for other people.
It's like offering that same compassion and understanding to yourself.
Right.
And that can be so healing.
It's a reminder that we are worthy of love and kindness, even when we're struggling. Sometimes the most loving thing is just acknowledging our pain and being gentle with ourselves.
There are so many that encourage us to use our senses, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's one that asks you to describe the taste, the smell, even the texture of your sadness. Such a different way to approach it, don't you think?
It is, yeah, because it takes you out of your head and into your body.
Exactly.
And that's so important. When it comes to processing emotions, we often try to intellectualize everything.
Right.
But sometimes the best way to understand them is to just feel them fully in your physical being.
Yeah, like you're giving your sadness a physical form,
A shape.
a texture.
Yeah.
And maybe in that process, you release some of that pent-up energy.
And by engaging with those senses, you can also access a deeper level of creativity and insight. Think about poets, artists. They use sensory language to evoke those emotions, to create those powerful images.
It's like these prompts are encouraging us to become artists, artists of our own emotions, using words, using images, expressing what we feel in a way that feels real.
And you know what I find so fascinating? Even though these prompts are all about sadness, they can lead you to a place of joy and gratitude.
I'm curious about that. How can sadness lead to joy?
Well, when you allow yourself to feel everything, all your emotions, without judging yourself, without resisting, you open yourself up to a greater capacity for experience.
Like expanding your emotional range.
Exactly. And when you can hold both, the sadness and the joy.
The darkness and the light.
Yeah. You create this balance in your inner world.
Harmony.
And from that place, that's where you can truly appreciate the beauty of life, even in the middle of all the challenges.
It's like building up your resilience, your ability to go through hard things and come out stronger.
Exactly.
So we've talked about cultivating self-compassion, engaging with our senses, and finding the gifts that are hidden within sadness. But how do we actually put those things into practice? How do we use this new awareness to actually create a more fulfilling, joyful life? That's what we're going to be exploring in the last part of our deep dive into these 50 sad journal prompts. All right, so we've gone deep into sadness, explored how it connects to us and the world around us, and even seen how it can have hidden gifts. But how do we move from understanding sadness to, I don't know, actually using it to make a change?
Yeah, that's the real question. The hope and moving forward section, that's where the rubber meets the road, I think. There's this one prompt that asks, what small step can I take today to honor my sadness, but also move towards a brighter future?
Well, I like that.
It acknowledges that you need to allow yourself to feel sad, but it also empowers you to do something about it.
It's like, hey, it's okay to feel this, but you're not stuck.
Yeah.
There's a way out. And even the smallest steps matter.
Exactly. And when it feels like too much, to even think about doing something, there's another prompt that says, what's one thing I'm looking forward to?
Oh, yeah.
And how does it remind me that sadness is temporary? Focusing on that little bit of hope, even if it seems small, it can be so powerful.
It's like changing your perspective.
Yeah.
From what's wrong to what's right.
Yeah.
From what's missing to what's still possible. It's really striking me how these prompts are all about taking control of your own healing,
It is. It's not about waiting for someone else to fix things.
or for things to just magically get better,
Right. It's about realizing you have the power to choose how you respond.
and create a better life for yourself. There's one that asks, what are some things that make me happy? How can I have more of those in my life? It's not about ignoring the sadness. It's about actively finding joy at the same time.
Yeah, it's about finding those little sparks of joy and, I don't know, helping them grow. And that's where being creative can really help.
Oh, how so?
There's a prompt that talks about exploring your sadness through art, music, dance, anything that feels right for you.
That makes so much sense. I've always found that channeling my emotions into something creative, it can be so freeing.
Like writing or painting.
Even just singing my heart out, it can be so cathartic.
It's like you're turning those heavy emotions into something beautiful, something that has meaning. And by doing that, you're not just healing yourself, you might even be inspiring other people.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I feel hopeful. Sadness isn't something to be afraid of. It can teach us and help us grow,
It's like we've been given this map
to understand our emotions.
with all the ups and downs,
Yeah.
and we have a compass to point us towards something better.
And most importantly, we've been reminded that everyone feels sad. By facing it with courage and compassion, we can heal and create a world where everyone understands each other better.
So to everyone listening, grab a journal, pick a prompt, and start writing. You might be surprised what you learn and how strong you really are. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.